All right, guys, Jeff here. This pool pump here, suspected is seized up. We'll go ahead and give it another chance here, but go ahead and flip that breaker. As you can hear, it's winding, grinding, but no motion in the pump. And then the telltale sign is that after a second of running that, it's going to go ahead and trip that breaker just like you saw there. So seized up here, overamping, not spinning, and trips it. So we're going to go ahead and swap this pump out. First thing we got to do is, of course, take this off. So that's going to involve us removing these bolts here, which looks like there's just 4 of them, and then we'll have to take off this cover here so we can disconnect the electrical and remove this ground as well. So we'll get that done here and go from there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is get these bolts out. I've got my AC Delco 3/8 inch drive here. And we'll just take these guys out. There's not much to those, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, all right, I believe that's all the 4 there are, so we'll see about breaking that free real quick. Okay, so I've got to take this grounding wire off, and it's just bolted to the body of the motor right here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that screw so this wire here can kind of get out of the way. So I'm going to be taking this little nut out there. I'm going to use a flat blade. It is a hex head. If you needed to get a little more torque on that, you could do a nut driver. Okay, so I need to take this plate off here. Got my 1/4 inch drive out, and we've got, what do I have on there? A 1/4 inch drive with a 1/4 inch bolt. So this would have been perfect for a hex driver. Usually they're not threaded very deep, but they are long. So it's not super longs and threads, but it is definitely a long screw. Try to get that out. So you can see it's not very long, just threaded. And we'll get that out. So there should be one on the bottom too. It looks like the one on the bottom actually was not set up here. So all right, now that we've got that taken off, let's see, can you see here? Yeah, we got to test these connections here, these wires, take those off, and then we can take the whole pump out of here. Yeah, so these are the wires we're after there. I do have the power disconnected at the that sub panel, as you saw, but never hurts to just put a little sniffer on them just to make sure. And then this one, we'll go ahead and test the capacitor too while we're at it. But you've got 2 legs of power, making that to 220, and then you got your ground here. All of these are under that 1/4 inch bolt there. So we'll see about getting a nut driver on these. And then I opted to stay with my AC Delco, but we'll go ahead and use an extension here just to loosen those up. You can take them out if you wanted to. It probably would make it easier. This 12 gauge wire isn't necessarily the easiest thing to bend around, so we'll take those out and just set those aside here. And that way we can get that wire off there a lot easier and see how they had it connected, whether they had a loop put on there or not. It'd be nice to have my magnetic bits out here right at the moment. And there's a green one here. So lastly, we have the ground screw, which I already loosened just to test. Yep, make sure we have that. All right, so we've got all 3 of those screws. Again, we've got the ground, and we got 2 legs of power there. So we'll go ahead and get that disconnected here and pull that out. So in this case, we're going to need to take this piece of Liquatite out. Can't really turn that elbow, so this is tightened up, threaded into the body of the pump or motor. And so what we'll do is we'll disconnect the Liquatite here, and we'll pull that wire back through like that. Let's see if we can't get that out here. And sometimes you got to get a set of get your your wires all lined up so they come through a little easier. And that one's getting caught on something. And let's go ahead and pull that out real quick. Okay, so just pulling it out. Now that that's out of there, we can take this, because we'll reuse this part here on the new pump. So take that out real quick, go from there. All right, so backing this pump out, chances there's water in that housing, so as soon as we crack this off of that pump, we should probably get a little water here. So we'll pick up our tools and anything we don't want to get wet up. So okay, so I ended up taking off this part of it here, and there's the aforementioned water gush that we knew was coming. So go ahead and take this out all the way now. Okay, so in order to be able to get the impeller or disconnected from the actual shaft, you're going to have to hold on to the back shaft. Now thankfully most manufacturers give you something on the back end here. You could use a slotted screw driver or flat blade in there if you want. I've just went ahead and put a pair of locking pliers on there. What's going to happen is it's going to try to turn either way, and it's going to hit that component, and that's going to help provide that stop. Ideally, I could get it on the ground to where it's using the ground as the stop rather than a piece of the equipment that's on it. But nonetheless, there is a screw on this end. This one is a Phillips that you can see down in there. So we'll get our driver on that and crank this thing off. Okay, so I've got that little longer extension that I needed there, but you can see I've got the locking jaw pliers on there, and then this is lefty tighty, righty loosey. So you spin that, make sure you get it that way, and go from there. Okay, so basically we took this housing off here, and that was held on by these two little bolts here. And since they're just gnarled, you could use a hex key on them, but I used the locking pliers since I had them out here. And again, this little piece of impeller needs to come off, and it just spins off. It's threaded, and then the rest of that will just come off. So we're got the pump free finally, ready to take that into the shop. Okay, so we went and got the new pump. It's down there, and basically, since you have it apart, even though the pump was the only thing that failed, you might as well go ahead and replace some of these consumables, what I would call consumables. So this ring here, gasket, rubber seal, however you want to call it, that's a good one to replace. Your little shaft spring here, so that's a pump seal. And this one has that spring, so that kind of allows for taking the give and pull out of it. This is the part that goes down in, and you can see I replaced the old part here. This is the back side of it, and you simply press fit that in. So, you know, I used basically a flat blade to push it out, and then you can kind of just press it back in place. You want to make sure it gets seated in there tight. And then this part here is what goes on the shaft, and then when you put that back together, it's like that. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this whole thing to the actual pump, and then we can then attach this whole thing back onto the housing itself. So we'll go to that part. But again, go ahead and replace your consumables. I went and put some of that seal on here, that lubricant seal on that. You want to make sure you have a dust-free and dirt-free connection on all of this, lubed up really nice. So we're ready to start putting things back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that impeller back on. Remembering that this stuff is opposite, because it's going to spin in a direction that is going to want it to get tighter as it spins. So lefty tighty, righty loosey. We'll get that on, and then obviously this same screw in here too. Okay, so remember we do have to take this cover off with that. It's a long screw but not a lot of threads to be able to access the shaft as well as our electrical anyway. So we're going to go ahead and get the little Liquid-Tight connected here before we go over to the pump. But we'll first get this cinched down so we can get the pump threaded on there, the impeller part of it threaded on tight. Okay, with having our lockjaw or vice grips on this, we're able to tighten this, and this is big enough that you can almost hand tighten it and twist both at the same time to get that on. But then this screw that's in here, that one again, remember, lefty tighty, so like you're driving it out, and just tighten that up, and then once it starts to spin here, hold both. Don't ask me why I have a 4-foot long extension on my driver, but I do. So there we go. So that's on there nice and snug. Now we can go ahead and work on the electrical. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just put this other piece back on. And if you recall from the taking it apart, I used just some lockjaws on this earlier. But since I knew I would need that later, I went ahead and just brought out my Allen keys here, and I got the right one for that. And there's just two, and these are really small screws, so you know there's not a lot of weight or pressure put on these. I'll finger tighten that, and then I'll get the hex key in there, and away we go. So super fine and small threads, you name it. This is a real delicate screw. Kind of one would wonder why it's so delicate. Seems like a little more robust piece would be called for, but we won't over tighten it, just because I'm guessing you can strip this out pretty easy. And the last thing you want to do is strip out a piece like this, because although it seems like it's not holding a lot of weight or something, I'm sure it'd all go to heck if you didn't have that in there. So we want to make sure we get both of those in there seated. And let me make a pro recommendation: do not get lubricant on. Don't get lubricant on your hands when you're trying to turn little small pieces like this, because I'm slipping out and all that. So anyway, I got that nice and tight, nice and snug. So I guess what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and go after putting this on the actual pump housing, and then we'll get the electrical done. Yeah, and I didn't show this, but you know what? It's worth showing. I always, it takes a couple of minutes longer, I'll admit that. But I always put the screws, nuts, bolts, when I'm doing automotive work, it doesn't matter. I always put them back where they're going to go. Especially like in this case, I had to run the pump down to the shop to test it. And, you know, what if they didn't have the part? What if that, and it turned out to be a couple of days? And then your memory gets a little foggy as to where things go and where you put them. Or if I just like set them on the top of the neighboring pump, what if the dog or pet or wind, something starts blowing them around? So I've gotten the habit of just putting stuff back. Again, it may take an extra second to do that, but then I don't have to account for them. I know that in this case I needed 6 bolts, 2 nuts, and lo and behold, they're all right here. So that's kind of just a pro tip. Again, I admit it does take an extra second or two to do it, but nothing's worse than going to put something back together and not having everything that you need. Okay, I'll go ahead and slide that in place. Now, I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to assemble these, but I mean, if I were to say anything, I would say, you know, in this case, I've got the 2 that have these nuts on them, on the wings, are going to help you cinch it down and get this in place in order to, you know,
pull that, because this has that rubber gasket, and I'll get that finger tight, and then I'm gonna throw a set of channel locks on this here and finish it off there. Now normally I don't cinch something all the way down until I get more than one in there, because that may just barely throw off your screw holes, and you wind up backing it out anyway and realigning it. So I try not to over tighten stuff like this, just to help me get it in alignment, and then I'll go back and tighten it. Now that I have one in place, I don't mind cinching that a little tight there. Now these other 4 that go in this are just threaded, they've got threaded posts in there for you to anchor those into, and there's 2 that you can see really easy and 2 that you can't. So counterintuitively, I always say get the 2 that you can't first, because if you get it offline, you're easier to upline the ones up here than the ones down there. So again, that, is that right? Does that mean you have to do it that way? No, it's just how I do it. So okay, so now we've got all 6 of those outer bolts bolted this back onto the housing. We got the shaft mounted. We're going to go ahead and get the wiring done, and in this case, again, it's going to be easier now to actually screw that in, screw this liquid tight in. You can see it's got a rubber seal there, and I can seal that down nice and tight and then feed the wires through it. So we'll go ahead and start that. Okay, now, so again, I'm just going to thread that, get that started, and get it tight. I mean, that's the point, is that the tighter it is, it's going to be more watertight with that rubber gasket. Now the only problem is, getting that to be tight, but in an angle where that wire is going to want to sit naturally. So we're going to be in that orientation there. We're going to be in that orientation. So having that tight enough, and then having this go over it. So now the other part is to get these wires, to be able to get these through, and I've got wire nuts on them. Always check your electrical, just to make sure. And you can see I've got my breaker turned off, and I've even got the timer off. So there's going to be no electricity going through that line. But double, triple check that. This is 220, so each one of these legs is carrying that 110, and it'll get you. It'll get you, especially around water. Just make sure you double check that. Cannot emphasize that enough. Okay, so one of the things I did, I went ahead and loosened this little connector off here, just because the way that they got this wire coming in, and if you're dealing with 12 gauge wire like you should be here, it is almost impossible to get that wired around that bend to begin with, but then to have it dump straight into that piece without any movement. So it's like I'm gonna move that back and just take that out for a second so I can get the wires in through that Liquidite right there. Okay, so it took a little bit more. There was a couple of little issues. The wires were not long enough, so I ended up having to cut this back. If you remember, it actually bent way out here, so just by simply cutting that back, I was able to get that wire long enough in there, but got everything installed. Was able to mount the grounding bolt right to the housing, and kind of cleaned up how it was done over here as well, which I think is an improvement. So all in all, full installation pump done. This one actually is attached to the system, the floor jet system. So that's why you're hearing the pump. It kind of changes pressure and all that, or it gets a little backflow as these rotate around in here. But anyway, it's running right now, no leaks. Everything seems to be sealed up tight. So anyway, guys, if you like the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Learning.